Very good morning to one and all. Today's topic of presentation is approaches of knowledge representation in artificial intelligence. So, I'm here myself, Julie Yadav, Assistant Professor in Computer Science Engineering Department. Today's topic for presentation is approaches of knowledge representation in AI. Basically, why I'm choosing this topic, because as in the previous lecture, I covered what is knowledge representation and why there is a need of knowledge representation and how the artificial object use the knowledge that we are representing in the through the knowledge base in the knowledge representation. So now today I'm going to cover the approaches that can be used by the developer to provide the knowledge in the form of information, in the form of objects to the artificial objects. So here are some of the approaches. The first approach is simple relational approach of knowledge representation. The simple relational approach is one of the basic and the easiest approach for storing the fact about the relation that that the object is with the other entities. So it is one of the simplest approach by which we can represent the knowledge in the knowledge base. So it is the simplest way of storing the fact, which uses the relational method, and each fact about a set of object is set out systematically in a specified column. Here we can see the information. It contains the information about three players, player 1, player 2, player 3. These are the objects. Then here there are two entities, weight and height. That tells the player 1 has this much weight, player 2 has this much weight, player 2 has this much height. So here you can see that the relation between the object and the entity is clearly seen, and it is easy for the object or the artificial object to understand the condition and take the actions accordingly. So this approach of knowledge representation is basically famous, or we can say that it is mainly used in database system. As we know, the data in the database system, how it is stored in the form of table. In the same way, when we are using the simplest relational approach for representing the knowledge, then we are representing the knowledge about the objects and entities in the forms of a tabular form. As we know that in tabular form, we can easily identify the relation between the different entities or the different objects, what is the relation between them, and we can be easily representing and easily fetch the information or the conditions, and then we can plan the actions accordingly. So this approach has a little opportunity for inference. We cannot say that this approach is implemented in every of the artificial object. This is restricted. This can be only implemented when we want the object and the entity relation. Means if the action is taking on the spot, or we can say instantly, if the action needs to be taken, then we can represent the knowledge by using the simplest approach of knowledge representation. Here is the example that tells us that how the players, means the objects, are arranged in a tabular form, and how the relation between the object and entities is shown in this table. If we want, the artificial objects wants to know about the player 1, the height of player 1, then it can easily fetch that player 1 has 23 age or its height. We can represent any kind of information about the object, it's in the terms of their entities. So this approach is basic. We can also say that this approach is a database approach in which we are using the tables to represent the knowledge in a tabular form. So another approach of knowledge representation is inheritable knowledge. As from the words we can get to know, inheritable knowledge means the knowledge that can be inherited. We are having sufficient knowledge, or the object to which we have implemented or which we have given the knowledge in the knowledge base have sufficient knowledge. If we want that using that knowledge, it can interfere or it can develop some more knowledges, using that knowledge that has been already stored in the knowledge base. So this kind of knowledge is known as the inheritable knowledge. In this approach, all the data must be stored in a hierarchy of classes. Means it shows the hierarchy, how the data is stored and how can that data can be used to inherit or we can generate, how that data can be used to generate more knowledge. So that is why in the previous one, we are representing the knowledge in the form, or we are representing the data in the form of tabular form. Now, in this approach, inheritable approach, we are representing the data or the information in the form of hierarchy, one after the another. So, all the classes should be arranged in a generalized form, or we can say in a hierarchical manner. In this approach, we are applying the inheritance property. You might have studied about the inheritance property since I think from the first year or from the 11th or 12th, we have studied about the inheritance property. Means the features that we can that we can inherit from our ancestors. In the same way, when we are representing the knowledge in a hierarchical form or in a hierarchy of classes, then that knowledge can be inherited using the already stored knowledge. So, the elements inherit value from other members of the class. How the inheritance property works here? The elements to which, or we can say the objects, they can inherit the value from the another members that are present in that hierarchy of the class. So, this approach contains inheritable knowledge which shows a relation between instance, and the relation is called as the instance relation. Means but if we are using this approach, it tells us the relation, the instance relation between the object and its entities or its values. So, every individual frame can represent the collection of attributes as well as its values. Here, to represent the object or values, we are using here the box node. The knowledge is represented in such a way that the lower nodes, or we can say the leaf nodes, can inherit the values from the upper nodes. So to represent that knowledge, we are using the box node. To represent the objects or their value, we are using here the box node. And the arrows tells us which point from object to their values. Means how the objects can inherit or how the object can attain or receive the values from their inherited classes. So, here you can see an example. Here is an adult male, right? Adult male, this shows the hierarchy. As I have just told you, we are using box node. Here the adult male is in a box node. Here the player is in a box node. Here cricket is in a box node, football, Peter and Ankit. All the objects as well as their values are associated in a box node. Here we are using arrows. Arrows tells us the relation between the objects and its values. Here you can see the Peter and Ankit. We are going to represent the knowledge about Peter and the Ankit. So, we are representing all the information, all the data about Ankit and all the data about Peter. So, Peter, which is an instance, means it plays cricket, right? If it plays cricket, then it is a player. If it is a player, then it is a adult male. So, this shows the hierarchy, how the Peter inherit the features of a cricketers, how a cricket or the cricketer is, what kind of player it is a player and it can be an adult male. In the same way, here Ankit, who is also a player, but it is a football player. Yeah, now you can clearly see they both, Peter and Ankit, they both inherit the features of player. One of them is a cricket player, another of them is a football player, but both of them are male, adult male as well as the player. So, this shows how the objects and their values are associated with each other in a hierarchical manner. In this way also we can represent the knowledge in the knowledge base. Another method of knowledge representation is inferential knowledge. Inferential knowledge is basically when we are representing the knowledge by using predicate logic or propositional logic, then we can say that that representation of knowledge is known as the inferential knowledge. So, to represent the knowledge in the form of logics, right, like predicate logic. In predicate logics, we are using various connectors like arrow, bidirectional arrow, like what is the relation between two entities, are they connected with and, or are they connected with or. So, this contains all about the propositional logic. So, another logic is predicate logic, where we are using to represent all. That can be a disadvantage of propositional logic. If we want to represent few groups or many groups or all, then we cannot use the propositional logic. For representing some group of people, we need to use the another form of logic, that is known as the predicate logic. So, inferential knowledge, in which we want the data to be represented in the forms of logic, means by using some of the symbols, we are representing the facts or the knowledge in such a way that when the artificial objects wants to take any action or wants to take any decision, then it can inherit the decision, it can take the decision on the basis of that logic. This approach can be used to derive more facts. I think this is the best approach for representing the knowledge, as the knowledge that has been already stored in the knowledge base, that knowledge can also be used to inherit or to generate more knowledge. So, that is why this approach is used to derive the more fact, means that the fact that has already been stored, those facts can also be used to generate some new facts or some new knowledge. And this is one of the approach that gives the correctness, means it guaranteed the correctness, means whatever the action taken by any artificial object, that should be correct. So, let us tell you the example how the knowledge can be represented in a knowledge base. Let us suppose there are two statements. If we are talking them in English, then the statement is like, Marcus is a man. All men are mortal. We cannot represent this English language in knowledge base, right? It won't understand. So, we need to represent it in such a way so that an artificial object can understand what the statement means to say. So, these two statements can be converted into a form of logic that can be used to represent the knowledge. So, when we are converting these statements into a predicate logic, then we can be represented it as like a Marcus. Who is Marcus? Marcus is a man. So, when we want to represent Marcus is a man, instead of writing the complete sentence, we can write it in a predicate logic like as man. Who is a man? Marcus is a man. Another one is all men are mortal. All men. So, we need an object. We need a variable to represent the man. So, here this symbol represent all. All men's. X here, X we have used here to represent all the men's. So, to represent all, we are using here this symbol for all. We are using this symbol to represent all the mans, and X here is used for the variable man. As we can see here, man means X variable is used to represent man. So, all mans are mortal. This shows the relation. The implication means all men are mortal. From here you can also find who are mortal? All men. All men are mortal. So, these two statements which are in the form of English language, can be used or can be converted into a propositional or the predicate logic, which can gives you another representation of knowledge. And the last approach or the last method of representing the knowledge is the procedural approach or the procedural knowledge. Basically, in this approach, we are using small codes or small programs to describe how the things are going on, like how we can proceed. So it is basically an approach that we can say that in this approach we are using if and then conditions to represent the knowledge, and this can be done, or we can say to represent or to implement if and then condition then rule. Then when we have to use the programming language, and the programming language that can be used to represent the knowledge in the knowledge base are Lisp and Prolog. These two languages are used to represent the knowledge. So this is the another approach by which we can represent the knowledge in the knowledge base. We can represent the knowledge in the knowledge base by using any of the programming language, that is the Lisp or the Prolog. Prolog language and Lisp can be used to represent the knowledge, because when we are using the procedural approach is a kind of approach in which we are giving certain conditions, and on the basis of those conditions the actions need to be played, right? So we can easily represent it in a heuristic or a domain specific knowledge using this knowledge based approach, but it is not necessary that we can represent all the cases in this approach. We cannot represent all kind of information, all kind of data using this approach, because it is a condition action based, right? If there is a condition, for example, if there is an object, there is an artificial object that, or we can say an automatic car rider. So it has some conditions, like for example, if there is a breaker, then what condition? The condition is if there is a breaker, what action that need to be placed. This kind of knowledge representation can be done or can be represented by using the procedural approach, that can be used by using any of the two programming language. So to represent the knowledge, these were the approaches how you can represent the knowledge. I can also give the example of procedural knowledge, like if temperature is greater than 30, then what action it needs to play? Then AC on. So this is an example of how or what kind of knowledge can be represented using the procedural approach. So these are the knowledge approaches. Now we are going to, these are the requirements, or we can say why there is a need of knowledge representation, due to the following requirements, like representational accuracy. Whatever we are representing, that should be accurate, or the knowledge that we are representing, that should be correct, so that the entity that is going to take the decision can take the accurate decision. Then inferential adequacy. So it is the ability that we can manipulate the representational structure to produce some new knowledge. Means whatever knowledge we have already stored in the knowledge base, that knowledge can be used to create some another kind of knowledge. Inferential efficiency. It is the ability to direct the inferential knowledge mechanism into most productive directions to store appropriate guides. Whatever the guidelines or whatever the data information that needs to be stored, that should be efficient, right? Acquisitional efficiency. It is the ability to acquire new knowledge easily using automatic methods. Means whatever the knowledge that has been already there in the knowledge base, that can be used to easily generate some new knowledge. So these are the requirements for knowledge representation. Now knowledge representation techniques. I have just covered the different kinds of approaches of knowledge representation. Now here are some of the techniques how we can implement the knowledge representation. These techniques are similar to the approaches of knowledge representation, like The techniques are logical representation, semantic networks, production rules, frames representation, and one more is also there, that is script representation. Script representation. This method is also, or this technique is also there for the knowledge representation. Let's have a look of what the knowledge representation techniques are. The first one is the logical representation. It is basically logic representation is a language that with which we can concrete some rules that can deal with the propositions and has no ambiguity in representation. Like we want to store the information in the knowledge base and we are storing the same information, right? That is not logically correct, because if we are storing the same information multiple times, then there can be an ambiguity in the data. So the data should be ambiguous. It should be free from ambiguity. We need to use the logical representation for the knowledge representation. Logical representation means drawing a conclusion based on various conditions. Means in this approach or in this logical representation technique, various conditions are given, right? On the basis of those conditions, we can derive a conclusion so that the actions can be taken based on those conclusions. So the representation has some important communication rules. It consists of precisely defined syntax and semantic which support the sound inference. Basically, if we already have some facts, right, using those facts we want to generate some new knowledge, then that knowledge should have a specific syntax as well as semantic so that it can support the already stored knowledge in the knowledge base. So each sentence in it can be used into or can be translated into logics using that semantic or that syntax. So the logics can be categorized into two forms that I have already covered in inferential knowledge, that propositional logic and predicate logic, that we can use to represent the knowledge. So it has some advantages why we are using the logical representation, because it enable us to logically reasoning. It can enable us to give the logical reasons, right? And another approach is it is the basics of programming language. Disadvantages, it has some restrictions and some challenges while we are working with this logic. It is not implemented everywhere. Every kind of knowledge cannot be implemented by using this, and it may not be natural. It may have some inferential rule that may not be efficient. What inferential rule means? Deriving some conclusions on the basis of already stored information or on the basis of already stored fact. Using those facts, we are deriving some conclusions. Another technique is semantic network. In this, we are representing the knowledge in the form of nodes. Like as we can take it as like it is a kind of network. Means we are representing the knowledge in the form of a network. Like it has a nodes, and nodes can be of any object. It has some arrows that represent the relation between those entities or the object. So we can also say that when we are representing the knowledge in a graphical form or using tree or graphs, if we are representing the knowledge, then we can say that is a semantic network of knowledge representation technique. It can be an alternative of predicate logic of knowledge representation. So in this, we can categorize the object in different forms and can also link those objects. Means the entities or the objects, they are associated or they are connected with each other through a link, and the arrow tells the instance of that another object. So it is easy to understand and can be easily to extend. The main advantage of this technique is while we are storing the knowledge or while we are creating the knowledge base, then if we are using semantic net, then to add some new facts, it is easily to add or it is easily to extend the facts while we are using the semantic network. It has two types of relation, like is a relation and kind of relation that can be used to represent the knowledge. So here is an example, like these are the statements. Jerry is a cat, Jerry is a mammal, Jerry is owned by Priya, Jerry is a white color, all mammals are animal. Now these facts needs to be stored in a graphical form. How they are stored? Like we are talking about whom? We are talking about Jerry. Jerry is a object. So we are talking about Jerry. What is Jerry? Jerry is a cat. Jerry is a cat. So here is a relation. Then Jerry is a mammal. Jerry is a cat and all the mammals are animal, right? So cat is an animal, that is why Jerry is a cat, that is why Jerry is a mammal. Jerry is owned by Priya. Jerry is owned by Priya. Jerry is white in color. Jerry is white in color. Jerry is owned by Priya. Jerry is a cat and cat is an animal and cat is a mammal and all the mammals are animals. All the mammals are animals. So these facts can be represented using a graphical network in this way. We can represent the knowledge in graphical networks. This is the semantic network technique of knowledge representation. Another, it has some disadvantages and advantages, like easy to extend the knowledge or easy to add some new facts. It is simple and easily understandable, as we can see here how it is easy to understand. We are talking about Jerry and all the things are associated with Jerry only. So it is easy to understand and it is easy to represent the knowledge, the natural knowledge. If we are talking about any object, then it is the best way to represent about that object. It has some disadvantages, like if we want to represent knowledge about so many objects, then the network or the graphical network will become very crowded. Like as the human memory has number of neurons, it becomes messy if we are creating such kind of information to store the data and then to represent that in the knowledge base, it become too messy and it also become too difficult to handle by the artificial objects. So these networks are not intelligent and depends on the creator of the system, because the person, the creator that creates that system, that is creating the knowledge base, can only understand this kind of knowledge representation techniques. Another one is frame, in which we are using slots and its slots value. Let's have a look of an example. Here is an example of a frame for a book. Slots and its value. Here are slots are title of the book, genre, author, edition, year and page. Now, the information of these slots or the values of these slots are stored in filters. Title of the book is Artificial Intelligence, genre is Computer Science, Peter Norvig is the author, it is the 3rd edition, it was edited in 1996 and number of pages are this. This is a kind of frame, like we are representing information about some specific object. All the information are stored in a tabular form. This is another approach and this is another example of the same frame representation. Another one is the production rule, in which we are using if and then condition to represent the knowledge. Here is an example, like if at bus stop and bus arrive, we are standing at the bus stop and bus arrive, then what the object needs to take an action, then the action is get into the bus. If we are standing on the bus stop and the bus arrives, then what action should I take? We get into the bus. If we are on the bus and we have paid we have paid the price of that bus, and any of the seat is empty, then what action should I take? If any of the seat is empty, then we should take the action to sit in the seat. Another one is, if we are on the bus and we haven't paid for the traveling charges, then firstly we need to pay the charges. And at the last, if the bus arrives at the destination, then what action should I take? Get down from the bus. So this is the way how a scenario can be represented using if and then condition. So here are some of the advantages and disadvantages. This production rules are used to express in natural language. We can easily remove and add and modify an individual rule. It also has some disadvantages, that is limited learning capability. It cannot have the capability of learning, means on the basis of the inferences, facts that have already stored in the knowledge base, we cannot create some new knowledge on the basis of those knowledge. During the execution of program, many rules may be active, hence rules-based production rule systems are inefficient. Only these rules are not sufficient. There are multiple rules that are also active during that execution phase. So it was difficult for the artificial object to use or to analyze which rule or which action should it take. So these are the advantages, and thank you.